Well, good evening, everyone. Good to be in your companies once again. I'm your friend, Bishop-elect Edlin Scott, and I'm really excited about the opportunity to share with you once again. Like and share as you come on in and join me in this broadcast tonight. This is Phenomenal Leadership, and we're seeing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm excited as always to bring you this broadcast. It's all about leadership development. It's all about leadership development. How do we sharpen our skills? How do we offer the best version of ourselves to those that follow us? So I want you to reach out to your friends and your loved ones. Let them know that we are live with another session on the second day of May. Phenomenal Leadership with Bishop-elect Edlin Scott. So go ahead and share it with all of your contacts. If you're watching me by way of YouTube, subscribe to my channel. In fact, all of you that are watching, go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe to my channel. It's Edlin Scott on the YouTube channel. Well, we're just out of our 41st annual General Convention. And it has been an absolutely beautiful ride this year. We had a wonderful time in our convention. We celebrated under the theme, God has put all of our enemies under the sole of our feet and have given us rest. God has put everyone under the sole of our feet and given us rest. That's something really to think about. That's something really and truly to think about. Every enemy that you have, everyone, God has put them under your feet. You didn't have to go get them. You didn't have to go after them. God did it for you. Place them under the sole of your feet. And I'm really excited. We had a wonderful time in our convention this year. And many of our friends and those that follow came by to see us. In fact, I want to say a big shout out to those that came from Palm Beach and those that came from Fort Lauderdale to be in the service. I really appreciate you coming. Appreciate you coming to celebrate and fellowship with us this past week. What are we going to talk about tonight? Everybody is entitled to good leadership. Everybody, I don't care who they are entitled to good leadership. But how do we find a good leader? How do we find ourselves a great leader? That's what I'm going to be talking about tonight. How do you spot one? How do you know that's one? How do you know that person is developing into a good leader? Hang with me tonight on the broadcast, and of course, I am going to give you some ideas. In fact, I'm probably going to break it up into two. I'm going to give you 4 points that you can identify a good leader in tonight's broadcast, and then Thursday, God's Spirit Life, I'm going to give you 4 more points to help you identify a good leader. Big shout out to everyone that is watching the broadcast tonight. Good to have you all joining me from wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for those of you that have been praying for us and praying for our mom. My mom, she's currently in hospital even as I speak. And really appreciate your prayer. Appreciate you putting it before the Lord. And prayer is changing things. She's doing very well, exceptionally well. And hopefully she's going to be out. In fact, tomorrow is my mom's birthday. And I just spoke to her prior to coming live tonight. And I said to her, Mommy, tomorrow we're celebrating a birthday. And we're celebrating with you out of the hospital. And that's where my faith is tonight. That she's going to get out of the hospital. And we're going to celebrate that birthday together tomorrow. Through the strength of the Lord. All right. How do we spot a good leader? How do you spot a good leader? How do you know that, hey, there goes a great leader? How do you do this? Now, good leaders are developed or they are made. Good leaders are developed or they are made. Now, there are a lot of people that is under the impression that, leaders are born, because the saying born to lead has been coined so many years ago, and so people feel like except you are born to lead, then you're not going to lead. Not necessarily. Leadership is something that can be learned. Leadership is something that can be learned. And I want you to know this without a doubt. Leadership is something that can be learned. There are people that have some potentials, they have some gifts, they have some skills, but for the most part, leadership is something that can be learned. Some people are born with great feet, so they are able to run. I kind of talk a little fast. Some people have that perfect pace. There are some people that just are born with a gifting to sing, but it doesn't mean that you have to be born to lead. Leadership is something that can be learned. The number one character, the number one thing that has to be in a leader, the number one thing to look for that identifies a leader is accountability. Accountability. Someone put it in the chat stream. Accountability. One way to assess the potential of leadership skills is when you give people a responsibility. When you give them a responsibility, don't just give them one. Try to give them a little more than one, because you want to see their ability to handle more than one thing. And when you look at their ability to handle more than one thing, it kind of tells you whether or not they have that potential in them to be developed into leadership. Now, not only do you give them more than one thing to do, but you also have to back off them. A lot of times we want to do it for them, but give them the blame if it doesn't work out. John Maxwell says everything rises and falls on leadership. So if you're going to give somebody a responsibility, you must allow them, whether they fail or succeed, allow them to do it on their own. And that's how you're going to be able to identify whether or not they have the ability to lead. All right? The more comfortable a person is with their responsibilities and accountability, the more better we're going to be able to assess their ability to be a good leader. A good leader is someone that takes responsibility for their actions. A good leader is someone who takes responsibility. So as you would have given them the assignment or the task, watch their ability to take responsibility if something goes wrong. Case in point, last week I pretty much knew everyone that was traveling to the convention, and I was tasked with the responsibility of assuring the rides for everybody. I could have delegated, and in most cases I delegated so that person could have gotten a ride. But one particular person I didn't delegate, and not because I didn't want to, I just didn't remember to. I talked it over with one person, but I didn't talk it over with the person that could have picked the person up. And so I got home and I was relaxing, early in the morning, and then I got a phone call, and the person had contacted their contact person back in the US and said, no one is at the airport to get me. And so they contacted me, and I said to them, I forgot. And I jumped up. I was just about to drink my tea. Jumped up, head to the airport as quickly as I could have. Well, I'm about 10 minutes away from the airport. Went to the airport as quickly as I can. And when I met the person, I said to them, I could really and truly give you 6 reasons why I was not here to pick you up. And I could have found 6 reasons, and really good reasons, why I wasn't there. Okay? But I thought about it. I said, now, a leader must be able to take responsibility for their wrong. And so I said to them, I'm going to tell you the one reason why I was not here for you. First, I want to apologize for not being here for you. And it was my responsibility to be here for you. But I honestly forgot. And so I begged them, I asked them to please forgive me. One of the ways to spot a good leader is someone that takes responsibilities for their actions. Now, it is kind of difficult to spot accountability at the lower level of leadership, right? Let's just say, for instance, in management or in the employee level, in the lower employee level, it's kind of difficult to spot accountability among the lower level, because if something goes wrong at the lower level, everybody looks at the other person. But when it comes to higher level management, then it is a lot easier to spot it, because then you know it was leadership that delegated whatever needed to have been done. And so they have to take on the responsibility. So it's easier to spot it in higher management. The higher up the corporate ladder goes, the more responsibility one has to have. The more one has to have. And so when you see somebody take responsibility down at a lower level, where it isn't so much necessary, when you could point the finger in every different direction, there is somebody with accountability, and accountability is the basis for good leadership. The second thing that can help you identify and spot a good leader is their ability to communicate. Their ability to communicate. If you're a parent, have you ever had a child that came to you crying and you said to them, what happened? And they can't explain what happened. It kind of gets frustrating, because you really want to know what happened. You really want to know what is going on. Communication, being able to communicate, is one of the skills of good leadership. Now, whether you are able to communicate, now I don't think that you can communicate to a big audience and not be able to communicate to a small group, or even one-on-one. I was talking to some of the young upcoming leaders, some of the young ministers, and I said to them, your confidence as you speak should be that, hey, look, if you can speak to a crowd, you should be able to speak one-on-one to somebody. The same confidence that you need to stand in the crowd and say, the Lord has placed this word in my spirit, is the same confidence that you will need if you're speaking to somebody one-on-one. Being able to communicate. Leaders need to be excellent communicators. Notice the person that is able to explain. Notice the person that is able to, whatever they're doing or whatever they've been asked to do, be able to adequately communicate it. I was talking to my siblings my brothers and sisters today. I said, now, whether you believe, everyone has different beliefs. You could be same parent, but everyone has different beliefs. But if we are all going to carry the same message, we must understand it in order to communicate it. And that's why the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain, that they that read it may run with it. If people do not understand it, they can't run with it. And so one of the skills that a good leader has is they have the ability to explain the vision or explain whatever is going on. In order for people to connect with whatever it is that you are presenting, they have to be able to understand it. And so the gateway to the heart is either through the eyes or the ears or probably even the tongue the tongue or the hands, the gateway to the hand. Now, in order for you to get people involved, you have to speak to the head, then the head transfer it down to the heart, and then when it gets to the heart and they connect with it, then you get people's hand. You're not going to get people to be to support whatever vision or dream you have if it can't connect to the heart. And the only way it connects to the heart if you speak clearly to the head, and then it gets down to the heart. So leaders must be excellent communicators. You need to be able to communicate in various situations. You can't just be a communicator that is able to communicate with a mic in their hand. You can't just be a good communicator around church people. You got to be able to communicate in no matter whatever situation that you find yourselves in. And no matter what type of people you come in contact with. If you can only speak at one level, then you can have a little problem. You got to be able to speak on all different levels. I did a seminar in the convention, and I said to them, one of the statements that I made, I said, leaders put all the cookies on the lowest shelf. And what that means is, you can't put things above people. You must put it where, no matter who they are, either they don't have to reach too high or bend too low. It must be just right for people. You remember the story about the three bears? It said, I think it was Snow White, went into the house and sat in the first chair. It was too hard. Sat in the other chair, it wasn't right. But sat in the final chair, and that chair was ideal. Went to the porridge. The first porridge was too hot. The next porridge, but the next one was just right. Leaders must always communicate and keep things just right. You got a stream to understand, and it can't be so low that it just doesn't even sound right. So you must be a good communicator. But becoming a good communicator or just being a good talker isn't just all to leadership. Because tell me something. Who just wants someone that just pours out? Every time you see them coming, you say, boy, I better stand still, get my lunch, because they gonna talk. No. Communication is more than just talking. So when you're trying to spot or identify a good leader is a good talker and a good listener. A good leader is a great talker and a great listener. If you're trying to identify a good leader, look for the person that listens to everyone. One of the gifts that I'm constantly working on in my life is my ability to listen to people. Because when you listen to people, you show them that you value them. when you cannot spill what you haven't received. A cup cannot spill what it doesn't have in it. And so, no matter who people are, when you listen to them, you receive what they're offering. Now, whether you take it in or not, at least to them, they had your attention. So, when you're trying to identify or spot your good leader, you look for someone that is able to talk, communicate, what it is that you're doing. Share, graphically, give a good picture of what it is they're doing. And then a person that listens. A person that listens to others. One may assume that people listens to the boss. People listen to the boss because the boss commands the room. People follow leadership because they have to or they want to. Two reasons. Either they have to or they want to. People listen to the boss because they have to. You will never already find a room where people do not listen to their boss. They listen to their boss because they have to. So, as a leader, you must have the ability to, because you're not the boss, you're not the top tier. So you must have that ability to communicate something that people want to listen to. And when you listen to people, you create influence in their life. When you create influence in their life, then leadership is about influence. Good listeners is someone that also puts people at ease when they speak and share good ideas. And when you see that development in people, that, people want to, okay, let me hear what Linda's got to say. And sometimes the room may be on fire, just a lot of chatter going on, a lot of things going on. But when that leader potential speaks, it just puts the room at ease. When you see that happens, they put the room at ease, share great ideas. That's the making of a good leader. The third thing that you will find in a good leader, the third thing that identifies them in the crowd is empathy. Empathy. The days of management shouting at each other or shouting at the team is past. The days of shouting at people, shouting at the team, the days of bullying people around is really, it's not relevant for the season. The days of screaming at people is just not relevant for the season. It is important to know what moves people. You want to identify a good leader? A good leader knows your children, knows your husband, knows your family members. A good leader knows what's going on in your life. Because if I don't know what's going on in your life, then how am I going to know what's impacting the work that it is that you're doing? So nothing's wrong. Nothing at all is wrong. Before you scream at them to find out why you late, find out, is everything all right? Your first question shouldn't be, why are you late? It should be, is everything okay? And so you identify a good leader when you find someone that has empathy. Empathy means put myself there. Sympathy and empathy sounds alike. I'm sorry for you is sympathy. Empathy is, I feel like it's you. I feel like how you feel. Something different. All right? So, be empathetic towards people, health, towards their families. I don't care what's hurting on you. You got to work. You have to be empathetic towards people's circumstances. And when you find someone that is concerned about the health, wealth, and the capacity of people, you just place your eyes on a good leader. Empathy is a strong sign of good leadership. Keep your eyes out for individuals who display it. Empathy is a strong... See, leadership is about getting them to where they need to be. Leadership is about getting them to where they need to be, not getting them in your life to get you where you need to be. Look for the person that is helping everybody else. I was watching this movie called Devotion. Devotion, yes. And two friends. One of their planes, and it really is a true story about Jesse Brown. He was an African-American pilot that was the first one to die in the Korean War. And his plane crashed behind enemy lines. And his friend flew over him and saw that he did not get out of his plane. And when he saw that he did not get out of his plane, he purposely crashed his plane beside Jesse's plane in order to go get Jesse. Now, that is a very high level. That's a very high level of empathy, where he put himself in harm's way just so that he can make sure save Jesse. Now here's the thing, he didn't do it, couldn't do it. Jesse was stuck in his plane. He couldn't get out of the plane. And so he died in his plane. But the comfort his friend had was, boy, I tried. I put myself in that position and I tried. The fourth thing as we wrap up, because I'm out of time, the fourth thing that can help you to spot a good leader. Because, Nelson, everybody is entitled to good leadership. I don't care how bad they are. I don't care how weird they are. I don't care how strange they are. I don't care what color they are. They are entitled to good leadership. And so, how do you spot a good leader? How do you spot? Because you want to follow a good leader. You don't have to settle for anything that's going on if it's not. I shared this in the teaching I did in the convention. I said, if you don't love me, you don't qualify to lead me. If you do not love me, you don't qualify to lead me. Because what you don't love, you disrespect and you abuse. But what you love, you cherish. Give your life for. Finally, all right, this ends the first four. This one ends the first four. And then on Thursday, God's Spirit Life, I'll give you 4 more reasons or 4 more ways to spot that good leader. A good leader has a growth mindset. A good leader has a growth mindset. You can identify a good leader when you see someone with a growth mindset. Leaders are people who strive for more. Leaders are people who strive for more. I was listening to John Maxwell, and John Maxwell says that if you're in a class and you're always getting A's, you're not being challenged. I mean, it's so good when our child come home. The first thing we ask them, what did you get? Did you get an A? Then the next question is, who in the class beat you? Mommy, nobody in the class beat me. Then they're not being challenged. There's no room for growth. There's no room to grow. If you are struggling, if you are having challenges, then you're in an area where you can grow. So, good leaders are people who strive for more. They are happy with what they are doing now, but they always want to do more. In other words, they are happy with what's going on now, but they always want to do more. They're excited about these 5, but they're trying to get 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. They're always trying to grow. And so you look for the person that is just not satisfied with what's going on, wants to do more. Let's just say in the store, all right? A complacent leader is the one that only strives to hit the quota. Only strive to hit the quota. A good leader always looks beyond the quota. Always want to get beyond the quota. Being growth-minded is not something all employees have. Some are happy being in the same position for long periods of time, or they only want to move at a later time. All right? Potential leaders strive for more. They aren't happy with simple achievements. They want to push further. They want to try something new, and they aren't afraid to do it. Look for people who wants to build on prior success. They are leaders, unlike individuals who rest with past success. I want to build on it. I want to build on it. I've been doing morning phenomenal leadership for about 3 years, I'm not sure. 3 years, right? I've been doing this as a virtual thing. My real dream, I want to talk to people. And so during the convention, I had the opportunity to take Q&A. Boy, that was just so sweet. That was just so sweet. Q&A, the Q&A session of it. And I'm kind of limited on Facebook because it's just me. I'm all alone doing this. I don't have a studio crew to run behind. But I'd like to take questions. I'd like to be able to answer questions. And so I like to interact with people. And so it has always been my desire to get beyond this virtual and do some in person. And then virtual for people who just can't come and be in the event. So how do you spot? Let's go over them very quickly. How do you spot a good leader? Someone that is accountable. Someone that is a great communicator. Someone that has empathy towards people. And then someone with a growth mindset. On Thursday, this is what we're going to talk about. How do you spot a good leader? A good leader is inspirational. A good leader is inspirational. A good leader is a risk taker. A good leader is a strong evaluator. All right? So, come on back with me on Thursday, and we're going to talk a little bit more. We're going to dig a little bit more deeper into it. All right? Thank you so much for being a part of the conversation tonight. Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast. Go back and listen to the broadcast. Go back and go over this point by point. Get your pen, jot down the little notes, and don't just hear them. Stick them on your fridge. Put them on your computer monitors so that it reminds you of some of the points that we brought out in this program tonight. Hey, I'm your friend, Bishop Elect Edlin Scott. Love you, love you, love you. Look forward to see you again in another phenomenal leadership session. God bless you and have a great night.